Plaintiff, Danette Laurent, says when she was 18 years old, she was having sex with the defendant, along with 3 other men. Danette claims when she got pregnant, she did not know who the father was, so she petitioned the court for a paternity test. Defendant Thomas Anderson says after he and Danette had a one-night stand, he never saw her again. 13 years later, Thomas claims he received a letter while he was in prison saying he was the father of Danette's son. So he's eager to know the truth today.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Let me hear from you.
Okay, I petitioned this court for a paternity test in order to see if Thomas is the father of my 15-year-old son. We started talking, well, not really talking, but we knew each other in 2001 through a mutual friend. And in 2002, I found out that I was pregnant. So I let Thomas know that he could be the potential father because I was also sexually involved with 3 other guys. I was 18, had my own place, had a job, thought I was grown. So Thomas told me that he could not be the father. He was not the father, that he had someone that he was dating in Texas. So I just let it be.
He told you that when? Right after you were pregnant, you called him?
Yes.
And you said he might be?
Yes. I said you could be.
Did you call the other guys and say the same thing?
Yes, sir.
And he immediately said, I have a girlfriend, so it's not mine?
Yes.
How does that work?
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
You sure he said that?
Yes.
What did you say to that?
What did I say then?
Yes.
Okay, whatever you want to say.
You didn't say that doesn't make sense?
No.
You didn't remind him of what happened?
No.
Maybe you could have said, I know someone would have said, yeah, what was that girlfriend that night?
Yeah.
Did you just let it, oh, okay. Yeah. Even though it involves a child, I'm just going to let you say something that makes absolutely no sense, and I'm not going to say a word, but, oh, okay. Hung up. And then 15 years later, just dawned on me. That didn't make sense. So what happened after this man told you that?
So I decided I'll be mom and dad. Then 5 years later, I had 2 of the guys tested. That was negative. And I let it go
Tell
again.
me, when you called them, what were those conversations like?
They were willing to take the test.
All right, and they took the test and negative?
Yes.
All right, did you speak with him again after that?
No. I didn't speak with him until 2016, but I did a test in 2014 through Child Support Agency. They located him, he was in prison, and they gave him 3 days to take up or sign a paternity acknowledgement, stating that he wanted the paternity test done. He couldn't get that signed in time, so they automatically named him the father.
By default?
Yes. So when he got out in 2016, he contacted us. Yes. And he contacted my son and I, and they've been talking on the phone back and forth, but they hadn't met in person yet because of the test. I didn't want his feelings to be hurt or Thomas's feelings to be hurt if the test was negative.
Okay. All right, some things in the law or policy or whatever the case might be just have never rang fair to me.
Yeah.
But I have to go with the law.
Yeah.
But this, for example, that's not fair.
Yeah.
That's not fair at all, but that's the law in some states and obviously in your state. Let me hear from you, sir.
I met Danette. I didn't know how many sexual partners she had. I had only met her one day. A friend of mine asked me to come to Covington, so I decided to go. Me and Danette had a one-night stand, and I haven't seen her since. I had no way of getting in contact with her because I didn't have a cell phone at the time. 13 years later, at the time I thought her name was Pumpkin.
Her name?
Yeah, I didn't know.
You didn't even know her real name?
So 13 years later, I'm in jail and I receive a letter.
Was it a one-night stand? How many times?
Twice.
Pardon?
Twice.
Twice. Go ahead.
After the one night, I had never saw her again. So 13 years later, I'm in prison. I receive a letter stating that I'm the father of the next child. It says Danette Laurent. And my mind is not ringing true because I don't know who Danette Laurent is. I always knew her as Pumpkin, so I'm like, who's this paperwork for? So as I read further into the paperwork, which I have here, it gives me basically her life story, from her social security number to the job she had, to the other people that she has on child support, to so on and so forth. So I did my research. It did ring true to me. I did go to Covington. So immediately, they made me the father by default. I didn't send the paperwork in a time, allotted time. I was in the blocks at the time. They made me the father by default, so I became my own lawyer. I started doing research. I started finding any type of way I had to take money out of my account. I have that as well in black and white to get the process rolling. I had to send different petitions. The petition didn't have to come to court. So after about 6 months, it took me 6 months of time and money and emphasis. They finally put me in court. I get transported to the court. I sent Danette a letter like a week before. Danette didn't show up in court.
Ma'am, is this true? You failed to show up for one of the court dates?
I did.
Why?
Because it was a week before, and I didn't get the
Week
letter.
before what?
Week before the court date.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't get the letter until maybe 4 days before the court date. There's no way I could have went to Louisiana.
In 4
and
days?
No. I didn't have the resources to go at that time.
All right, go ahead. So she did a no-show.
Didn't show
and
up.
then what?
So I get out of jail maybe a year later. The first thing I did when I got out of jail was contact Dylan and Danette. I feel like if any responsible man, if you have a son, then you need to be there for him. You need to stand up and take that responsibility. So that's what I did. I sent him money one time. I talked to him on a regular basis. At least I try to make contact with him. I call him at least 2 times out the week. I know it's kind of hard because I don't know if I am the father, and I didn't want to really just, barge into his life, being that I may not be the father. But I would like the court to know that if I am the father, I would like to stand up and be the man that I'm supposed to be. And if I'm not the father, I'll still be in his life and support him in any way needed.
Good to hear that. And one observation I want to make, and it kind of goes to the stereotypes that you hear about guys who have been involved in criminal activity or on the street or in prison or whatever the case. The stereotype or the basic assumption is that they don't take care of their kids, they don't love their kids, they don't want their kids. Yeah, some drug addicts might do that, but the average guy on the street, drug dealers, other guys involved in criminal activity, other guys in prison, the overwhelming number, and believe me, I know a lot of criminals, I know a lot of folks who've been involved, I know a lot of guys in prison. The overwhelming majority of them want to be good fathers to their children. Either they don't know how, or there's some other extenuating circumstances in prison, whatever the case. And so I wanted to point that out so that folks don't think all the guys behind bars are bad fathers or would otherwise be bad fathers. All the guys on the street doing what they think they need to do to survive. I'm not saying that's what they need to do. Doing what they think they need to do to survive are not all bad fathers. So I'm glad that you are here to testify to that. And you began in his life when? Presuming and acting?
As soon as I found out about him.
Okay.
As soon as I found out.
All right, well, we're going to find out ourselves. And I'm glad to hear that if you're the father, you'll be fully engaged. And what you have said makes sense. Don't barge quite into his life wholeheartedly until you know. Glad to hear that. How's your son doing otherwise? You can go and get the results from me, please.
He's doing great.
He's doing great? Yeah. You raised him as a single mother?
He has a stepfather.
Okay. Been in his life how many years?
10.
10 years? Yeah. All right, good, because that's the essence of it. He's been a father as well.
Yes.
He's been a father all along.
Yes.
Well, in the last 10 years. And is that true, the things he said about him showing some type of commitment to fatherhood?
Yes,
and you are pleased at what he has shown?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, great, because you're the father and you can continue. Good luck. Great. I'm so glad to hear that. Have a good day, guys.
Congrats.
I am glad we have this over with. And I'm glad you his dad.
Now I'm just gonna be the father that I'm supposed to be.
Okay.